The inside.
For clothes that Tristan lost. At Bold 3 Detergent Plus Fabric Softener. Spray. Relief.
And welcome back. It is me, Tarman, and today we are going to be painting scratch building and painting a retro-looking Space Marine. One from one of the most iconic boxes or art pieces from 2nd edition. This guy right here. And so we're going to be scratch building that out of just all the little bits that I have that are accessible. And I'll go a little bit more in depth into that. So without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so we are going to be making the cover art 2nd edition Blood Angel Captain. So we need to go over what parts that we need. Obviously, you're going to need a 1st generation Space Marine, right? So we got these regular shoulder pauldrons. I have this. I know this is the wrong bolt gun. I just don't have the right bolt gun, so I'm going to be substituting this bolt gun, which is I believe, a reverse bolt gun? Maybe? I don't know. But this bolt gun. And then I did make a mold on this, but I have the 2nd edition Space Marine, or True Space Marine power pack. You know, this little guy. Boom, boom. I have his power pack. So that's the power pack I'm going to be using. And then obviously you're going to need a power fist. This is off the new Black Templars power fist. This is the one I had laying around. I've just cut it so far. And then obviously took off the cross. Then just, you know, regular arm. Then a head. I have this head. A bolt pistol in the holster. Doesn't really matter, just needs to be a bolt pistol in a holster. And then you're just gonna need, you know, some grenades and then little pouches. And then I have other pouches too, you know. A little blade. I believe this is off the new Horse Heresy Pro Tours or Captains. So this is the one I'm gonna be using and stuff. And then you're gonna need the original Space Marine body. I've already went ahead and just cut the legs up. All you'll really need is the torso and legs. These are just regular standard legs. I've just cut them up for what we're gonna be doing. So yeah, those are the bits that I'm gonna be using right now. But the first thing to do, since I have it chopped up in a certain way, we need to drill and pin it together. So I'm just going to be using this nice thin copper wire for the pinning. And then I have a nice little drill kit. So let's do that real quick. All right, so now I got all the little holes drilled in the guy. The next thing to do is just cut up this wire and glue them together. And his pose, if you do remember, I'll probably pop up the picture. He's kind of like at a side here, so we'll just be posing him similar. So let's do it. And there we are. Now he's in the correct pose. So you notice all those really big gaps. Now we got to mix up some green stuff and do some putty work. So let's do the green stuff. And there we are. Now all of the putty and reposing is done. Now we just got to finish gluing them together. So let's glue them together. And there we are. Second edition box art Space Marine. Made from scrap. Now really the next thing to do is prime him. I'm just going to prime him white, so next time you see him, he'll be white. And there we are. Now he's ready for painting. And the first color we're going to be picking out on this bad boy is this. And there we are. Now the armor is picked out. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to hop over to the joints. And what we're going to be using for the joints is this. And there we are. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to pick out all of the black bits. And the black we're going to be using is this. And then I might, or probably will, go over that black because my black's a little old and it kind of leaves streaks a little bit. So after the first coat, which I will be using this, I'm going to go over it with this. And there it is, just with the black Templar. Now we're going to move on and paint it again with the other black, but I'm not going to show it because it's kind of obvious what I'm painting. So next time you see it, it'll be nice and black again. And there we are. Now that's all nice and black. Now we're finally going to paint the yellow bits. And the yellow we're going to be using is this. And there we are. Now all in that nice bright yellow is picked out. The next thing we're going to do, we're actually going to hop back to the red. We're going to go over all the red with this. Kaboom! Now he's a nice little deeper red with that bright yellow, but now we're going to knock that yellow down. So we're going to paint all the yellow bits with, and make sure to have your paint kind of thin too, because you don't want to overdo it. Put a light shade of this over all the yellow to darken it up. And there we are. Now the yellow's a little bit darker. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna pick out those grenades on his belt. Whoops. And what we're gonna be using is this. Ta-da! And there we are. Now the next thing to do is to pick out that purity seal and a little tassel on his blade. I'm going to pick out the tassel on the blade with this and highlight it with this. I'm going to do the same for the little wax stamp for the purity seal as well. I'm going to be starting off with this for the purity seal and then highlighting it with this. And there we are. I went ahead and used the first color that I put on the purity seal for the hair. That's just going to help me later down the road. But now we're at a stage where we're about ready for edge highlighting, but we're not going to get there yet. The first thing I'm going to be doing is putting a wash all over the model before I edge highlight, so the highlights pop, really pop a lot. And the wash I'm going to be using is this. And there we are. Now he's all nice and dark. So now we're going to do some edge highlighting, and we're going to start with the red. And the red we're going to be using is this. And then after that red, we're going to go back and highlight the really high points with this. And there we are. Now he is all nice and highlighted, the red bits. Now we just got to highlight the yellow bits. And what we're going to be using is this. And there we are. Now the yellow is all nice and highlighted. Now the next thing to do is to highlight the black bits. And what we're going to be using for the black is what I normally use, which is this. And there we are. Ta-da. Now the next thing to do is just to highlight the little grenades, which is really, I'm just going to mix a white with the green that I used. So I'm just going to be taking this green again and mixing, honestly, yeah, I'll mix that into it just to highlight, whoa, just to highlight the grenades. And then we're going to move on to the flames for this Space Marine. So let's do that. Ta-da! Grenades are picked out now. Now it's time for the black flames. And the black I'm going to be using is my old reliable. Right here. This. So let's do it. And there we are. Check him out. He's coming together. Got them awesome flames on him. Brr. Now the next thing to do is to finally paint that face. So we're going to paint the face. I'm just going to do my standard thing I always do, which is just working with these colors right here. Starting with this with base, and then using this for the highlight. And I'll take the highlight and mix it in a little bit with this. And I'll also use this for the eyes and just a black dot for the pupils. And then for the hair, we already got a base coat down and his hair is white. So I'm going to highlight it with this. And then do a really bright highlight with this. And there we are. Now the next thing to do really is just to put the decals on it, do the little checkerboard and then the blood angel symbol. So next time you see it, those decals will be on, and I'm going to go ahead and clear coat him a matte, and then we're going to knock out the silvery bits. So next time you see him, he'll be pretty much close to done. So yeah. And there we are. Now all those awesome little decals are on him. So now the next thing to do really is to paint the silvery bits, which there's not many, but really just focusing on the bolter and his little blade right there. So the first color that we're going to be using is this. And there we are. Now the nice silvery bits are picked out. Now the next thing to do is to highlight the silvery bits, and we're going to be using this. And there we are. It's coming together. Now we just got to pick out those little bullets and the gold bits for his knife right there. This is going to be for the bullet casings. And for the knife, we're going to be using these two. Starting this with the base. And then highlighting it with this. And there we are. That's pretty much it for this guy. Really, the last thing to do is just base him, so next time you see him, we'll be in that montage. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I definitely enjoyed making this iconic Space Marine. You know, if you're a big fan of Warhammer, you have definitely seen that piece of artwork. I love the original Rogue Trader pieces, even the figures too. I'm a big fan of the beginnings of Warhammer, and I thought it would be fun to make this guy. So yeah, I know I did say I'm going to be doing another Poor Hammer scratch build. I am going to be doing that, just haven't had time to really dive into doing that. It's a lot of work to do one of those, to prep it up, but and time is what I don't have right now, but I will be doing that in the future, I promise. I promise. But without further ado, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely love making these videos for y'all to see, and I hope you did enjoy it. But without further ado, enjoy the montage.